Here we go. Amazing Felicity. Hi. Super excited to be having these conversations. I know that you've recently kind of gone through a big pivot in your business with your amazing company. Let's dive in a little bit on that. Like, that's something that I think so many of us as entrepreneurs and just as women in life are so scared of, things not going the way that we think that they're going to go. Can you share us a little bit about kind of what that was for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had this vision that, that I was going to keep, that my business was going to unfold exactly the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
You too? We all.
Yeah. I like that we all just totally cracked up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That my health was also going to be magnificent because guess what? I'm running a health, wellness, and beauty company.
Yeah.
And my health did that. And my business, the vision that I had for my business wasn't unfolding the way that I wanted it to.
My way.
Darn it.
Right?
And so it was this real process of undoing me. My health started to become undone.
Yeah.
My business, the way that I saw it, started to unravel. My relationship with my husband and my children obviously was under enormous stress. I have 2 young daughters, and it's like everybody needed me all at the same time.
Yes.
All at 100%.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't even have 10% left.
Yeah. Seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know that moment where I guess it would be give you some context. I got really, really unwell after my second daughter was born, and I needed to heal myself. Through my research, I discovered that gut health is one of the main keys to health and vitality, right? So I started fermenting these beautiful drinks at home, kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut, sourdough, all of it, in an effort to heal my gut. What happened was I got healed very quickly, and at the same time, all my friends and family could see the results. They came to my door asking me for my drinks.
Grassroots business.
Grassroots. Literally, slip your money under the door.
Yeah.
Jane, there's your box.
Wow.
Hollie, there's your box. You owe me 20, you owe me 10.
Wow.
Don't come between 12 and 3 because the baby's sleeping. If you wake up my baby, you're going to be in
coming for you.
And then a health food store heard about me, and fast forward, within 18 months, I was catering to 300 health food stores from my shed.
Amazing.
Wow.
So I would literally strap my baby on my front, put my other baby in the pram, and wheel a milk crate of drinks down the street, delivering it.
You are
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just made it
grassroots.
happen.
I love it.
Yes.
Just grit, but not a lot of grace. And what happened was the grace part, the soft, and my daughter's called Grace. And so
this is going to be a
that's
good
my
anchor point for me.
Yeah, the grace part really pulled away.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hustle, a lot of grit, a lot of this. And that softness just dissolved, because let's face it, when you are starting a business, you need that grit, right? And I obviously. And so fast forward a few years down the track, we were doing really, really well with the drinks. I really mismanaged the business. I could have been doing a lot better, but I was learning.
Always.
And I got my real life MBA in those years. And I'm still obviously learning every day, but fast forward a few years where we got a big factory to service the drinks, and what happened was they weren't going out the door as quick as we needed them to. And everywhere I looked, I saw a block. A block here, a block here, a block here. They're not doing it here. I can't get them here. Just these walls were coming up. Yeah. And so at the same time that these walls for my business were coming up, when I needed them to flow, they were
I love that. I need them to flow.
I need this to flow, and you're getting in the way. Can you move, please?
Exactly. And at the same time, while there were blocks in my business, there were blocks on my energetic, spiritual, and physical level. I was constantly constipated. Like physically.
Literally blocked.
I was literally blocked. And I then discovered that I have an autoimmune condition. Okay. So whilst my business was under all these blockages, and look, it was doing, if we were on a smaller scale, like I was still kind of operating out of a smaller kitchen or a community kitchen or something smaller, we would have been okay. But because I'm kind of like all or nothing gal,
This is working, I'm going in.
Let's go.
We're going to be the next healthy Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Coca-Cola went out and made their own healthy drinks.
Yeah.
And so they flattened the market, which is that's what big multinationals do.
Yes.
So it's that's not a problem. But we didn't foresee that.
I want to, before you move on, you're bringing up a really powerful point that I think doesn't get discussed in business, and it's the cost of scaling. And I think a lot of us...
And your runway.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us think that scaling's the dream. I want to scale my business. I want to grow.
Yeah.
And as we're scaling our business, we're ultimately also scaling ourselves and our own capacity. And I think if we don't have the proper foundations in place, and I know speaking for myself in my own business, not having the proper foundation in place and scaling really quickly led to a lot of major blockages that just felt overwhelming and insurmountable at times. So I just think that's like such an important point to point out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see it a lot of the time in the like entrepreneurial world where it's like I'm going to have the 6-figure or 7-figure or I'm going to be a millionaire or whatever it is, and it does a lot of the time come down to financial goals, but not recognizing just how much you will have to work to get to that level and how much then that goes back into the business, let alone the blockages that you will come up versus if you were to like take it slow and steady. So interesting.
And getting honest about that. And I think, you know, we speak about a lot about this in our retreat, and just about getting really clear on what it's going to take, and also what are you choosing. So it's like knowing that you can scale and have all of that, but the price is the health, the kids, the family, the relationships, and actually deciding consciously which ones we want to choose and at when, and being really real about what it's going to look like. And also we can, as we've seen and you've shared, it's like we have a plan and that we think it's going to go this way, and then it's also going to be all of this other stuff. So it's getting ready and being committed enough to know there's always going to be these other things. And so what are we going to keep choosing? And we spoke a bit about resilience and grit. Right? I mean, I'm sure resilience and grit is something that you feel pretty familiar with at this point, do you?
Very deep. I do have those deep wells of resilience.
Yes.
And I think comes from growing up in a third world country. You know, you don't
Where'd
work.
you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Africa. So born in South Africa, lived in Zambia in the middle of Africa.
Yeah.
Like literally in a hut. Where to get hot water, we would have to make a fire. To have bread, we would have to make bread and put it in the fire.
That is phenomenal.
The fire.
That's amazing.
To have food, we had a vegetable garden. And so I have deep wells of resilience, and that is really what's seen me through, because I'm a fucking hustler. If you don't go out and make a fire, well, you're not going to get bread. And so what I knew, right, so this energy carried me through, that I knew that in my shed, I was doing okay. Like, yes, it could have been better, but we had like a pretty good little business. And then we opened up a bigger factory, and like it just wasn't working. And so I think, you know, going back to like those days of being in Zambia, okay, so this isn't working. What's the other channel that I can do here to make the river flow? And at that stage, because I was in burnout, clinically diagnosed, and then I got a burnout. So I got diagnosed with celiac disease. I had all sorts of other things going on, which I am very happy to speak about. But I just couldn't see the way for it to flow. And what I had to do was just step right back. And literally flatten myself. Like I'm talking physically, on my hands and knees, God, like flat. And it's happened once before in my life in my late 20s, where the same thing had sort of happened, and it was almost like, well, not almost like, it was like, girlfriend, just step over here, have a rest. We're coming in behind you.
Take a breather. The word that came to me is like allow, and allow for that assistance and that help and that trust of something greater for you. Was it something that you struggled with in the past, like this asking for help, or, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I figured.
Feels.
In running a business, it's so important when it comes to recognizing that we don't have it all together or figure it out. And it's like the antithesis to this hustle mentality. So what did you do in that moment that you were flattened and you're like, oh, I actually should be leaning on people now? How do you change that?
What do you mean?
In terms
Isn't
of
this interesting? I don't understand the question.
yeah.
What do you mean?
So it's like from going from I don't
compute.
need to be helped, I'm fine, I've got it all under control, to being flatlined, like, well, if the only way from here is to ask for help or to admit I'm not okay, is it that you have to get to that point to ask for help? Or have you taken lessons from that experience so that now when things are getting a lot, you know who to turn to?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, God always lives in my heart, and so I always have that access to that higher power. I really do.
Yeah.
And that was all part of the experiencing, was really leaning back on that that higher power and God. I mean, obviously, there was surrender and trust in there. I was, if the business wasn't resurrected, I'd actually made peace with that.
Yeah.
In a small, it probably not 100%, but I was like, okay, if this doesn't work out and I've really misread it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It took a lot to get to that to get to that point. But you know, deep in my core, I just knew that wasn't going to happen because I'd had so much guidance along the way. I just knew in my heart that wasn't going to happen. The real lesson for me was, yes, ask for help. Yes, surrender to others, step out of the way. My husband came in with his full yang energy.
Yeah.
He was just like, you go lie on a beach for 4 days.
Yeah.
Between 9 and 3, school pickup.
Yeah.
So you get like 4 hours. Yeah, you got 4 hours, and I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
And you
That's
know,
beautiful.
he did.
Yeah.
And in that time, I just became soft.
Yes.
Oh, and I didn't even recognize myself.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what effect did that have on your relationship? Because I think a lot of times women in business, we have this idea and story, like, we can have it all, and we can be it all, and we can do it all. And we often live into this kind of archetype that is considered more masculine, that is considered more in the essence of the do and the drive and the grit and the resilience to build these companies and to build these businesses. But that has an energetic cost on our softness. And I think our softness is our strength. And I know for myself, hearing that is like, man, my relationship could always use more of that. And I'm wondering what the cost has been for you and for you ladies as well in terms of relating to men in the world in that soft yet gritty and resilient, like the balance between the two. And what's the cost of that in partnership?
Yeah. Well, I mean, our relationship did get very rocky, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, and I've got an amazingly evolved husband who is very, very clear with me, and he just says, honey, you need to let me do my thing, and I would love you to not be so bossy. Literally, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And I don't take that as an I don't take that as a man.
Yeah.
He's literally like, you are just too directive right now.
Yeah.
I'm a 42-year-old, nearly 43-year-old male.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
I've
need
got
that.
this.
Yeah.
Like, I have got this part.
Yeah.
So he said,
That's
you
so
know,
nice though for guys to be taking control and
just
saying, I
take
got
full
that.
control.
It's
Yeah.
actually something that is really beautiful.
It's like the
Beautiful.
highest thing of love that they can do.
Yeah.
I can see that this is really stressing you out.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go do whatever
handle it.
makes you happy. Do your zone of genius, and I'll do all the other things.
Yeah,
and
it's
honestly, there's just nothing sexier.
Yeah.
No, literally.
I
That is
know.
so sexy.
It's like, I don't want to make a single decision.
Yeah.
You've got it all under control. Great.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I've got
create
this.
beautiful
Those are the
products.
sexy. It's like that's like the sexiest words for
Well,
guys.
and I
yeah.
think guys
I've got
feel
this.
intimidated. I feel
Right.
like there is, like, in this post-feminist world,
Yeah.
guys are like, well, how do I be with
Exactly.
my woman who's powerful and strong and in the world and creating and doing and being all these beautiful things?
Yeah.
But, like, men often don't know how to be with that and, like, find their role within that. And I think we get to be honest as women and say, well, we still really love that
Yes.
part of the masculine that
my God.
is direct and says, I got this.
Chivalrous.
Yeah, you
Yes.
take a seat, go to the beach for 4 days, relax, babe, I got you. And I think men almost feel like they don't have permission to say that anymore.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's such a tragedy.
100%.
You know?
Right. Well, it's even like that, like, you know, just then where it was kind of like, it's not anti-feminist or, you know, anti-woman or whatever, about the bossy thing. It's like, we've all become so sensitized about all of this. And it's confusing, and it's confusing as a strong woman who dates, and it's like in relationship, like there's so many different dynamics, and it's like hard to even know what they think, and then they don't know what we think, or what they like. It's all merged and changed so much. But like that's still chivalry, and I've got.
Do you feel like that gets in the way of your dating? Like, do you feel yourself like holding back on like your like conscious boss, like go get him kind of attitude?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not super consciously, but I think that there is that element of like, you know, soften, and like, you know, I grew up in a household with my dad that would say, don't be so like brazen or like bullshit, you know. And so there's that whole thing where it's like, be a little more feminine, you know. And like, I love my dad, but it's like, it's those messages, and then so it's a very interesting dynamic now, I think, in this space for all of us.
Do you know what I experienced last year? I started playing a lot more with my feminine, and it was really enjoyable. I love it. I did a test recently where I'm more feminine than masculine. It's the first time in my life. But what happened was, because I've been with my husband for 11 and a half years, he's always been in the feminine, I've always been in the masc. It's just been the way we've worked. But as I dipped into the feminine more, we were in this state of polarity where there was none of this masculine, because all of a sudden I wasn't making decision, because it's like, okay, well now you step up. But I never had the conversation with him. I just stepped into my feminine, and then it was just this.
Did you find that he naturally
space.
stepped up?
He did when I allowed him to. But because I was in this feminine space, but then resistant to any masculine energy at all. And I feel I've noticed that a lot of women in this space, especially in business, are going, lead from your feminine and be really, really soft and do all things from your feminine. But then there's this discredit of the masculine energy within us that we actually need to honour just as much.
In business, it's essential.
There's no way that my business could be where it is now, a global company, without my husband. There's just no way.
But also without your masculine energy.
Your go-get attitude.
Of course, but having just that I've got this. I've got that. It allows me to go further.
But that's a great point. It's support. And I think a lot of people see these successful women in business and like, wow, they did it by themselves, self-made.
No way.
It's like, there's always, I know, there's always a tribe of people.
You were just totally alone the whole time. No one
Like, I've got an incredible nanny that watches our baby that is like family to us. Without her, there is no business. You know, and it's like, she is critical in my business, because without her I can't go off and do the things that I do and know that my baby's in great hands. And then not to mention the friends I have and my partner who's amazing. Like, it just doesn't happen in a silo.
And I've got like two things to say about that. The first thing is Obama who went into NASA, and he was speaking to the janitor, and he asked the janitor, what do you do? And the janitor says, I put the
oh my god!
I put the what's it called? The rocket in the sky.
In the sky.
That's what the janitor said. He said, I put the rocket in the sky.
Gives me chills.
And then the second thing is
way to own the job.
Exactly.
Like, he's like, and that's legit. That's my nanny. Like, my nanny is responsible for all of the work I do.
I love that.
Hands down.
So I love that.
100%. Is to your point of like honoring the masculine or our men, I don't think that our men of our generation are actually given enough credit.
I'm so glad you said that.
Because they, like my husband, right? He's 42. We've got two young daughters. He can cook a meal. He drops them to school. He knows exactly when their activities are on. If he's got some single dad friends and they need some help, he'll pick up their kids and drop them off. And at the same time, and I reckon it's only been in one generation that these men have had to learn this.
That's
like
such a great point.
Like my dad cannot
It's not modeled really.
No. My mum brings him his meal every single night to the table. Right? And my husband is right now at the park with our daughters. He's fed them, he's done the dishes, and he's now playing with our daughters, right? You know, he went on his own yesterday camping, that's fine. And so like, I just don't think that they're given enough credit for how quickly they've had to evolve.
I think it's such an interesting conversation, because this is definitely a couch full of man lovers. Like, this conversation can get really polarizing, because it's like this whole feminist kickback where it's like attack and aggression on men, and we need to make them pay for X, Y, and Z, whatever. So it can get really dangerous, because there's such aggressive ends to this conversation.
Yeah.
So I love that we're bringing that energy there as well. And I mean, it's an interesting one too, because, you know, women have been through a lot, and there's also, like, that gets to be acknowledged too. And it's,
Of course.
it's even the expectation, and it is changing times, and the expectation that, and this might sound, I'm not saying about your husband, but it's like, the fact that we think it's great that they do the dishes, the fact that we think that it's great that they cook. Well, why do that? Yeah, shouldn't that be like? Why is it? Why do you need to? Why is that great that you do that? When we're expected to do it. Like, so it's interesting too, you know. Like, and I'm not getting on my horse about it.
Yeah, and I'll also say, like, women in that same way are like, we're looking for, like, validate us for all the things we're doing now in the old school masculine world.
Yes.
And the truth is, we all get to appreciate more in our lives. The women in our lives who are stepping into roles that feel new and not really embodied yet. The men in our lives who are doing the same. We're in this, like, interesting state in the world where everything is kind of crumbling from the past.
Yeah.
All the old paradigms are shifting, and now we're all like, okay, what do we do with this? And we're trying to kind of make sense of it with our old brains, but the truth is we're new humans, and we have this new relationship to our world. And I think you're absolutely right. Men right now are under fire across the world for a lot of things, and you know, rightfully so in some cases. And our men at home feel really uncomfortable, and I've had this conversation with my husband where he's like, I almost don't know what's okay for me to say anymore, because, like, is that wrong, or will somebody take offense to that? And
if I can compliment a woman on how she looks,
and I think we really get to appreciate that we're all in the journey, and we're all figuring out this new world, women and men.
I received a message from a male follower of mine a couple of days ago, and this is where it got me, where he said, I don't know where this stands with the Me Too movement at the moment, but I just want you to know that I think the work you do in the world is beautiful, and I think you're a beautiful person. And it was so respectful, and it was so, but you could tell he was sitting with it like, am I crossing a line here? And I think we and it's just the nature of media and the news that we focus on the fear mongering, and yes, we need to shine a light on the shit that's happening in the world, but let's also equally celebrate the good shit, right? Let's also look at the good shit, not like a either or, it's both, because it's the yin and the yang. And what you were mentioning before, Alexi, about the foundations of a business to grow, without Trent, like, he is my fucking foundation. He grounds me, because I'm up here all of the time, and he's not in this work. And he, you know, he comes home and he makes dinner, he cleans up, he does my fucking washing for me when I've just been in a hole of work. Like, he's a dream, right? But it's him that is that foundation for me to do this. So we've got to celebrate our men, and I love that you celebrate your husband in that way. I think it's beautiful.
Well, it's been new. It's been a new I've had to evolve with.
Me too. So new.
Same for me as well. And again, I think we get into our own little worlds. I'll speak for myself as a woman who's got a lot of things happening and a new baby, and trying to be all the things, like what you said earlier, 100% for everybody. Let me just be all the things for everyone. And at a cost to my husband, you know, like, because I almost had this idea of, like, he's fine. He'll always be there. He's got my back. He's good. So now let me take all that energy and go all over here, because he's good. And he's over there like, hey, what about me? So that's been a journey for me too, is to remember that he matters. Even though I know it's safe and I can trust that he'll be there, I also get to acknowledge and appreciate him in that process. So huge.
It's, I mean, what's coming up for me too is the experience that we had in the prisons. You know, like, we went to prison in California recently, and we're doing some more work with them, going up in July to max security prisons, and we did this work with these amazing men, and, you know, men that generally would be ostracized by society, men that we think we put in a box, very black and white, you're a criminal, you belong there, end of, you know. And what we very quickly found out, I mean, is just the depth of the stories, you know, and that some of these guys were arrested for the first time at 8 years old, and in and out of foster care, and lost children, and family murdered. And it's like, how do we expect these men or these boys to then become these, you know, such a societal thing, such a bigger conversation? And I think that was such an eye-opener, and just the tenderness and the softness of our men, you know, as well, that I think we sometimes disregard. They really landed.
And that goes back to your point too about your health and all of our health, right? I think a lot of people, we look at the symptoms of life and we try and cure the symptoms instead of going to the source. And right now we're in this kind of global conversation about the symptoms of what's happening in the masculine and the male world, and we're not going to the source and going, well, what's causing the symptoms here? Right? And like, this is everything. It's what you did with your health. Well, let me get to the gut. Let's go to the source of it and solve it there. I think that's what we really get to start stepping into as a society and collective, is let's go to the source. What needs to change fundamentally, foundationally?
Conditionally.
Yes, to kind of shift our next generations. You know?
Huge. And the thing is that it's such a bigger conversation, so it's not convenient to answer, because as a society we would need so much more work to put in, so it's easy to kind of deal with the stuff that's happening out here, you know, fundamentally. But it's definitely interesting, changing, and amazing times, and I think it's just the more that we can all, and not even men or women, just all of us, seek to understand, seek empathy. Like, that was coming back to that prison experience as well. It was just like, we're all freaking human, doing the best that we can with the conditions that we've got, and all of us sitting on this couch, like, sit in a position of privilege as, you know, white women in the world. You know, obviously you grew up in Africa, which is slightly different to, you know, our experiences, but with that, I think also comes responsibility. You know, to be challenges of this the systematic, you know, society that we live in that doesn't support many of, you know, the ones that can get to reap the benefits of being in the privileged position. I think that there comes responsibility to actually advocate for change and to do the work that we can in the world to actually facilitate, you know, this, essentially, you know, get back into the quote game, like, be the change that we want to see. Like, how can we impact and create the change that we all want to see in the world, especially sitting in positions of privilege.
And I think that's an overwhelming conversation.
It's huge,
for a lot of people. Like, I even know for myself, like, I've been a change agent in the world since I was young, and doing things overseas and all this stuff. But especially now, I feel so called. I have a son, you know, and I'm like, there's so much of this conversation, especially going to the prisons and working with these men. They were all once my son. This innocent little baby boy that just had an environment that was not conducive for what we would call normal. And it feels overwhelming to me in some breath to be like, well, where do I start? What do I do? And I think for anyone listening that's like, yeah, I get it. I'm like inspired and I'm passionate about it, but I don't know what to do. It's like, take one step. I think going back
like with anything that we would do, chunk it down, make it actionable.
And it may be messy, and we're figuring it out. And I think having the humility to just go like, I don't know the solution, but I'm in the game and I'm figuring it out.
I'm really interested to hear, Felicity, around you stepping into your feminine and that shift that would have come in the business. What changed for you when you were taking that step back?
Well, honestly, just a fresh rush of, I can only explain it as like energetic energy. Because I had the trust and the faith, like, and I just knew in my gut that we would get to the next stage. So when I came back after those, 4 days of being flat, I was softer. I really was softer, and I think with that soft energy I could listen.
Do you mean to guidance?
To guidance, and I could also see things clearly that I just hadn't seen before, like the way you're doing things.
The power of taking space.
Or the power of humility.
Huge.
Being open to admit that we don't know. I'm feeling that, sister. And just the power of humility and just like full surrender. God, what is it? God, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go?
How would you have me be?
Powerful.
And when I had humility with softness, with surrender, with trust, I had some new ideas.
Exciting.
The inspo return.
You know what? This wholesale distribution business, it's not working. And I know that my customers all around the world love my products, but they just can't get them. Because they have to be in a fridge. They have to be, and because of the way the wholesale distribution, fast-moving consumer goods system works, Sending drinks chilled all over the country is incredibly expensive.
I
So
can
they were too
imagine.
expensive to the end consumer.
Yeah.
What I could do though is create something because I've been in business for a long time. I've got access to like really great microbiologists and scientists and food techs. So I just got out my Rolodex and started calling. At the same time that I'd had adrenal issues, health, celiac disease, I had parasites. No, this is all going on all simultaneously. I had parasites, I had, what else did I have? They thought that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which I don't because I was struggling to get pregnant. I had tests for, I had tests
All
up
the
my
things.
vagina, up my bum, up
Yeah.
my, like, I had everything.
All of it.
All holes were penetrated at the same time. Because I had my own health issues, I went out to my scientist and I said, I need you to help fix me. This is what I've got going
I'm a lab
on.
test.
Yeah.
What can you do? Well, we've got this amazing collagen from Germany. It's got amazing scientific results that's showing people that it does X, Y, Z. I won't go.
Wow.
I'm happy
so
to go
your
into
sickness
detail.
literally led to this.
So I said, well, give me a kilo because I need it, because my naturopath is telling me you need collagen, but I didn't want to go and buy that one because the quality was not pure enough. So I got it directly shipped over from Germany. It cost me a fortune, started taking it. And then I spoke to my microbiologist and I said, I need a really, really potent probiotic because I've just come off the back of parasites and I have celiac, which is, for anybody who don't know this, it's a gut inflammatory condition. And I need to replenish my microbiome. Plus, let's just not even think about that. Serotonin, which is your hormones for happiness, vitality,
Feel
and
good.
well-being. Guess where that's made?
Oh no, your gut.
In your gut.
Yeah.
And emotionally, like I'm a very positive person. Emotionally, I was flat, and I said, I need to get my naturopath is like, you need to get your serotonin happening, girl. It
That's
all
really
hits in your
important for
gut.
everyone to think about
Exactly.
that.
Right? It is literally the centerpiece for everything.
Well, they say it's our second brain too, right?
I call it our first brain.
First
I
brain.
love
Oh, wow.
that.
It's called a vagus nerve, and it's this nerve that connects into your gut, and it goes directly into the back of your brain, and it's a super highway. And it just sends messages constantly. So that's why when you're nervous, what happens?
Feeling your
Feel
tummy.
sick in your tummy, butterflies.
You feel it there, and then what happens? Your hands get a bit sweaty because it goes straight from there to tell you to run, right? And that all is synthesized in your gut. So back to this new energy, the flow. I was on the phone to my microbiologist. I need bifidobacterium, 2 species, because bifido is great for creating.
How did you
helping
know all of this?
Well, because
you were just
I'm
a
also an
health-
author.
Yeah.
So I wrote a whole book on gut health.
Right,
And
okay.
fermentation.
Yeah.
So I literally created.
It's your own experiment.
I love it.
Yes.
So goals.
So I said, I need bifidobacterium, 2 species. I need 4 species of lactobacillus.
Casual.
Yeah.
You sound like Harry Potter.
I'm
right?
very familiar with lactobacillus, by the way.
I am
I've
too.
had experience with
I am too.
lactobacillus.
And I need some Saccharomyces cerevisiae in there.
I have no
You
idea what
literally
that
I know that
Harry
one
Potter.
too.
Yeah, I don't
This
know
is
that
Harry
one.
Potter right now.
So I literally, I just alchemized this shit, and I said, I need you to give it to me as a concentrate, and I need to start taking it. Well, guess what, sisters? I started to take this, and again, it was the exact mirror of what had happened 5 years earlier when I had my baby, and I was so sick. And I started in my kitchen making these drinks. Well, guess what happened 5 years later? Again,
Knocking on your
flattered.
door.
Yeah.
Bodies are our guides, though. Hey, crazy.
Yeah, and so again, when I had just been that like real servant attitude, right, I need to serve my health here, then I went, hold on, I'm getting calls from literally Switzerland and LA and Lithuania. These people want my products.
Wow.
How do they even know
Let's-
about them?
Google. I mean,
So
people
you were
just
selling
find
it.
me.
Is this in this was
Well,
the
this is
drinks,
when I
or
had the
this was
drinks,
the,
the ready to drink, and I was getting all these like requests from all over the world. But sorry,
Insane.
I can't get it to you.
Yeah.
So then I took my own these products that I had no intention of letting out to the world, because my business view was to do these drinks.
This is the plan.
Stick to the
Stick
plan.
to the plan.
And then like it was like wildfire, like my everything just turned better again. It was like what had happened before, and I went, okay, hold on. So okay, let's take the last of our money, like, and I'm talking the last of our money.
like looking under the couch for
Yeah.
the dollars.
Literally.
Wow, what can we
remember-
sell?
Yeah, I remember my lowest point ever was, and this is quite recently.
Yeah.
My daughter had knits. Both daughters have incredibly long, glorious
I
hair.
bet.
Much like
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
The main-
Better than mine. I'm jealous of their hair.
Oh
They
my
both
gosh.
had knits. I couldn't afford to buy knit shampoo and conditioner. I had no petrol in my car, and I had no sense to scrape together to drive them to the chemist. And even because my petrol was empty, and if I could get them to the chemist, I couldn't buy it. I had to call my mum and say, can you give me $20? My kids have knits, right?
Wow.
So it's not like I was in some sort of fairyland of, I've got money that I can just do. Like, this was...
the last
you're making it work.
This was the punt.
Yeah.
And again, it just came back to that, okay, I believe that there's a higher purpose here. These things have, they've revolutionized me.
Yeah.
People are asking me for them. Let's take a deep breath. Let's do it. Let's do this thing.
Yes.
And so I spent the last of our money. And since then...
To experiment, basically, right?
To literally experiment and see
which is huge courage and leap.
Courage. Massive courage.
Yeah.
Because I figured, well, I got nothing to lose anyway.
Right.
I could
Just the last of my money, but I mean,
just the last of my money. I could just keep trying to push against these blocked walls with a distribution, wholesale
The thing that's showing me now, it's really not feeling like it's the lining.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But this is, I want to like point out, because a lot of people that are in business have these moments where it's like go all in or back away fully. What was it that had you say, I'm all in? Because if it didn't work, you may have been left flatlined financially.
We would have been.
Would have been.
So what was it that had you go, you know what, I'm in?
I just thought, fuck it.
Yes. 2 keywords to living your best life.
Mentality.
Seriously.
Okay, so again, it came down to that humility. Do I have my children and my husband who I love? Yes. Do I have a roof over my head? Yes. We don't have a lot, but we've got something. So if we do flatline, well, then we're out.
Yeah.
And then we just
Rebuild.
go get a job packing bags or something else, right? I just
figure it out.
This is important though, facing off with the worst case scenario and just
So
being
brave.
like, that's what it is, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, I remember talking to my girlfriend who had breast cancer, she's my age. And she had a double mastectomy, like a whole lot of stuff. She had a conversation with her husband where they looked at each other deep in the eyes and they talked about her funeral.
Wow.
And what were going to happen to their 4 children.
Whoa.
No, 4 children. And it's like just looking death straight in the eye, looking bankruptcy straight in the eye and going, okay, if that all still happened, if that shit went down, I, as a person, as a child of God, I'm still whole.
Yeah.
And this experiment just didn't work out the way I anticipated and I planned.
Yeah.
But I'm still okay. And I think for us, for a lot of entrepreneurs, we put all of our self-worth into that thing over there.
Yes. Our identity becomes that thing.
And then when that thing doesn't go the way we want it to,
It's me.
we keep pushing and pushing it and asking it to become this amazing thing so that we can get whatever validation we need out there. But honestly, if it's not coming within, you're never going to get it. So I can be just as happy living, in a hut in Africa, I reckon, than I can be living in a beautiful home, because I know that in myself, I love myself.
Yeah.
And so I think because I come from that base, the thought of, having a last punt, having a last play, and seeing where this would lead us, it couldn't get much worse. So let's just try. Let's just try and see what happens.
And again, you're saying, and this is going back to that foundation, you are your foundation.
Yes.
And if the foundation of you is not in place, if you scale your business, if you're not in place, if you're not your own home and feel safe and secure in that, a lot's going to show up. So I think that's a big thing that I know I've had my own personal journey of working with, is how do I continue to feel safe in my body and trust this journey called life and trust the bigger plan.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You're
And it's
story about
in that right now, yes.
Yeah.
But it's perpetual, because it's always shifting and it's always changing, and the dynamics and the things we thought would work out that don't, and the things you thought you were going to get, you don't, and then it's just, so it's a constant shift. And so the safety is such a big thing, because I think so many people look to money, for the sense of safety and security, and this that word, safety. But we've spoken about this, and there's no amount of money that can actually create that for you, because it's an internal experience you have to cultivate yourself.
Yes. And it's the same thing with freedom. People are like, financial freedom, and it's like, that's bullshit.
Yes.
Like, it's bullshit. If you don't feel free inside, you will never be financially free. Freedom comes here first, and then you're free in your relationship, free in your finances, free in your lifestyle. But it's here that freedom and safety and security and certainty is here.
Yeah.
And then everything else is a reflection of our internal conversation.
Everything.
Yeah.
Just
a double down.
Just a double down, yes, on that one. It's all internal.
And it takes a lot of courage to do that work.
Oh,
to look at
huge.
the mirror,
Confronting.
to just look at all your stuff.
Yep.
Be willing to unravel it and see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was also this process of through all those health issues. My body was unraveling, spiritually I was unraveling, my relationship, like it was like literally doing a 180 back to a more of a pure sense. And I mean, at the end of the day, I knew that these products were super high quality, and if they had fixed me, I'm sure that they could help other people. Right? So.
And you've done it before. You built something amazing before.
Well,
too.
that's
So
true.
You've been in that,
is true.
cycle.
And what I hate is like businesses who put out gimmicky things. You know, obviously all of us would hate that, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that there was no marketing ploy, there were no marketing dollars. So if people, you know, the
product
market
had to
would
speak for
test.
itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The market
That's huge.
Yeah, so it took a lot of courage, and I did it, and then we closed our drinks factory literally 3 weeks ago.
How was that for you?
Yeah, so it was great for me. My husband struggled
there
with
anything-
it.
oh, did he?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I've spent so many years building
Trying to make
this,
this work."
and you know all the effort, the hours, just like everything, and." Is it too soon? And I don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
And he really struggled with that. But because he's accustomed to building things that last.
Yeah. And I guess as well that a lot of this vision is coming from you. So it's your internal knowing, it's your internal you know,
can
drive.
really trust.
Because it's hard for people to, like, when you're the person that feels and sees that, people around you don't necessarily, I mean, obviously he's your husband, so he knows you intimately and all of that, but when the vision and the feeling is yours, it's a little harder to communicate that faith to other people. So,
and it took, you know, courage for him as well to go, okay,
I trust you.
Closing this. Somewhat begrudgingly, but anyway, we closed it literally 3 weeks ago. We've opened a new space, which is like half the rent, and it's already become a hub. Like we've got Pilates classes happening, and people are coming in. Like literally, I'm thinking, am I going to get any work done? Because like people are coming in and out.
I was in there the other day.
And it's like, it's just so fantastic. I feel so light, so free, and
it's so good.
Yeah, so I would just say to anybody listening, if any of this resonates, like just know that I always say, like, on the other side of adversity, if you're willing to like humble yourself, do the work, get on your knees, ask for help, on the other side of adversity does lie gold. You just have to have the courage to move through it. And maybe that gold is that it's going to be flat, and you're going to go bankrupt, and you're going to get a job. But that's okay.
And maybe at that job, you're going to have someone that's going to meet you, and then you're going to start a business together.
We just
never
do
at
not
the
know.
end.
Never.
There's
no end.
That is great. And I think it's trusting that every piece of our journey, every little breadcrumb along the way is preparing us for that next step. Like, I think whatever this next step reveals for you, you had to go through this entire journey that you did with this first business to become the person that can step into this next chapter.
Totally.
With all those lessons, with all that grace, with all the reminders of resilience, grit, yes, but grace first.
I think as well, it's, you know, what's coming up for me too is just how much stuff gets left on the cutting room floor for business. You know, it's like the thinking that we're going to just, everything that we're going to create or launch is going to go well, or going to be successful, or is going to even see the light of day. Things literally don't see the light of day, and I think it's so important to know that there's products that we're going to launch that we're going to pivot out of, or things that are not launches that aren't going to go the way we want. Meetings, conversations, plans, projects, and you're going to have all of these stuff together and never actually get birthed. It's like, that's just the process of exploration and creation and just flowing with what's showing up and trying to create, you know? Not everything that we create is always going to end up Yeah.
the greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
And that's what, like, I laugh at them all the time. I even shared one on Instagram yesterday that's saying of, like, entrepreneur life, and it's like, I've got this, I'm amazing, and then the next day it's like, I fucking suck.
Right.
And like, we have conversations, like, the
Yeah.
last chat him and I had, I was like, I just suck at business. Like, I'm so bad. And then I made, like, like an amazing
like,
success. And I was like, I am, like, incredible at business.
I am amazing.
I am so good, and I totally got this, and that's part of the journey too, right?
Yeah.
It's a
life.
constant ebbs and flows in business and in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've said this word a few times, but experimenting, like really leaning into life with that view of I'm experimenting, like even in our relationships, like relationships where we've been married for multiple years. It's like, can we still lean in and experiment and try new things and just try it on without being so attached and
To the
fixated.
outcome.
On like it has to be this, because when we experiment, it's like, well, let's see what it becomes.
Yeah.
Versus it has to become this.
And also, what I would say is like be unattached to the outcome and be open to expecting it to be so much more golden and sparkling than you would ever have imagined.
Yes.
How can it get better than this?
Yes.
And that's it. I remember when Trent and I got married, and I looked at him like, nothing can top this day, and he's like, no, we have so much to look forward to, like so much more to look forward to.
Touche, babe.
And it's like, you got me. Like,
Let's not start now and thinking we've already peaked.
right? That's what I honestly thought. I'm like, oh fuck, we fucking peaked. Like, this is the best. But that's what we get to do every day. It's like, how can it get better? And it will get better. It always does.
Yeah. And I think going back to one of our earlier conversations, it's like the obstacles and those blocks are often what help us create an expansion within the body so that we can experience more joy, experience more presence, experience more of ourselves in relation to life. So I do think it does get better because life keeps giving us more to like fine tune us. And it gets better because we become a more fine tuned instrument of self. So we experience life more fully.
I love that.
Yeah, so good. So juicy.
So juicy.
So juicy. And then you even said it just before as well when you said about pivoting in, you said the word play. You're like, let me play. And it's like, even just that it just lightens
Different
the
energy.
It's such a different energy.
It's like,
You
you
just
be
like,
so heavy about everything.
not like, let me make this thing work. It's like, let me play and just see what happens here. That's an amazing way for us to approach anything in life, especially business.
And you have to, a lot of the time, no, you don't have to, but a lot of
You
us
have to.
You have to go through the
You
fucking
must.
hardships to learn the play.
Right.
Not necessarily. And I
But
guess
it's
that's why we're having
reference
this
point.
conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's to
You
go
don't
like
have the reference otherwise.
that's actually
So you
true.
kinda do.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I was behaving this way in my life because that's all I knew, and it led to these things. So let's try something new. Oh wow, this is like, I'm enjoying this now, and it can be enjoyable in life. And that it's just a constant evolution.
Because you can't necessarily know, I mean, it's duality. You can't know that it feels light unless you've felt heavy. There's no reference point.
So
we can't know that
true.
it feels playful because we know that it does. Like, oh, this feels different because I've done it that way. You know, it's just like those reference points.
Yeah, and I think even like perfect example of what you shared is those 4 days of really taking time to be just flat on the beach and like being with yourself allowed you to re-enter life with just a new view because you've now experienced the stillness. Now you can enter into the world and the chaos with a new respect for that and an appreciation for the stillness as well. It's like we need to really remind ourselves that it takes both, right? Going back to that masculine feminine conversation, it's like we have all the energies within us and sometimes we get really stuck and fixated on one of our essences without honoring the other. And I think it's so important that we find ways to honor both and just dance between the two.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
And be good with like the rhythms, just like lean into the rhythms of life.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I mean,
That's huge.
Yeah, and for like anybody listening with like resistance to what we're saying, I mean, I was that one with all that resistance
Same.
going, and I mean, I still feel it coming up.
Yeah.
How can you play and make money?
Yeah.
I still feel that, but I
Yeah.
see that. Okay, I clocked ya.
I love that.
Working on it.
Yeah, and I don't play all the time. Like I'm really great at working. I'm not so good at playing. But I think if we can just come to our day with a bit more of like a lightness and a playful attitude, you know, for somebody who's like on that other end, like I was, just that. Just like take a moment to just breathe in and then walk in, just with like a different sort of attitude, and then just sort of see what starts to unfold. I mean, I still battle, and the word is battle. Like it's sort of, it plays on my mind. Like, how can I make money while I'm not working? Or how can I, if I don't work, how am I going to get that outcome? And it is always a learning, and it's, I think it's always a journey.
And acknowledging the stories that you're telling yourself and what you're mirroring from your childhood or people in your life, where it's like you've got to work hard to make money, or you know, the hustle or whatever it is. It's the stuff that we're embodying, but it's stuff that we're carrying that isn't even ours. So what we want to be ours and what isn't ours, and then using or working with practitioners who can help you release the stagnant story that are not serving you and that are not yours.
Yeah, and I think this is to your point in saying that it's a journey and it's a battle. It's a battle for me too. Like I grew up in a working class immigrant family that it's like you work
That's
hard.
all you know to do. That's it.
That's it. Like we owned restaurants, and my family was at the restaurant every single day. Like there was not a day off. Day off. What is
What
that?
are you kidding me?
What day off? That doesn't exist.
You're talking my language.
So like I get it.
What do you mean day off? I'm like, I feel very comfortable with this conversation.
Now I'm in the home zone. Yeah,
But
let's talk about
literally,
this.
like this is legit how I grew up in it. It wasn't my story, but I was born into a family of entrepreneurs and immigrants, and like this is how you make it work for your family. And it was like a safety thing. And I still battle with that. Oh, I have to be working. I have to be going hard. I can't take time off. But knowing that I'm conscious of it is the win. And I think that's the big thing. Is like, it doesn't mean I'm playing all the time and like, yay, all the time. But it means I'm showing up to life and my work with a sense of play and joy, because I know I've scheduled in time for myself that will also help and benefit my work. So I make them still intertwined because that's all I know. And that really supports me, and my mentality is like they all feed each other. Without my time off, which is really, that's my work time.
Well, your work is the play,
That's
isn't
it.
Yeah.
I get my best ideas for my time off. I get my best ideas for my walks in nature. I get my best ideas when I'm getting a massage or in the shower or in a sauna, because I have space outside, and that is my work. So I've had to reframe it to work for my belief system. So we can play with it. Like, know what your belief system is and then play with it to have it work in your benefit.
I've got to schedule in my play, and I've got to go for that walk today, because that's like my, you know, my brain thinking space time. Like that's when I'm going to get my best ideas. So it's like tricking your mind to go, oh, that coastal walk is work.
That's legit what I had to do. Because for the longest time I would schedule and play, and the whole time I'm like, I should be working. This is ridiculous. Like I'm wasting so much time. I'm going to feel more overwhelmed, and I was creating anxiety. And I'm not actually present to it. So I had to reprogram what it meant for me.
I love that.
To actually have it be productive.
I've only just started going to Pilates now. It's like the first time ever.
Amazing.
And all the anxiety about, oh my gosh, you know, taking some time. I mean, look, the time that I would do it is like after work hours anyway. So it's ridiculous. I say to my husband sometimes, oh, I won't go to work this weekend. He's like, honey, it's the weekend.
You're not supposed to. You shouldn't be.
Take a break.
But and so how I've reframed it is, well, you want to be the best CEO in the world? Get your ass to Pilates. That's what
Richard Branson says something like,
does he?
Something like, you know, doing his workout creates like 4 hours of more productive time for him. So it's like a non-negotiable.
100%.
And that dude is
everything.
legit, because I've been to Necker and he what is it, kite surfs? And he like goes out kite surfs every single morning before he does any work.
I love that.
For him, he's like, I need to be in the ocean, I need to sun on my face, I need to like do the thing.
100%.
It's amazing. And like, I will be the best CEO by going to Pilates and getting my body in gear.
And
I
the best wife, the
amazing.
best friend, the best daughter, the best person, taking care of ourselves and filling that up and making sure that we're showing up fully in every area of our life. What do we need to do in order to do that? It's a personal thing for all of us. Like, it's not like, oh, do this and do that, because we all have, like, mine was the walk on the beach and the swim where I popped my eardrum, but that's my swim. You know, like, it's different for all of us in terms of how we get filled back up, but it's definitely still relevant for every area of our life, because if we're not nourished, I mean, we've heard it before, right?
You can't give.
But like, you can't, and nothing else
But
works.
that we've heard it all before, but how many of us are actually living it? It's like, fill your cup up, and most of us are like, yeah, I'll do it once
I'll get to it.
go over here. And we are on empty.
Yeah.
And we are giving from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we can't even think about filling the cup up because we're just depleted.
Yeah.
And then we get so
And
depleted.
everything is hard.
Yeah, and then
Everything
literally
is harder.
everything is like trudging through the
Yeah.
mud. And then when we finally stop or get burned out or the universe just goes, phew, you know, 2x4 over the head, we're so depleted and so in our reserve tanks that it takes so much
Yep.
more.
Like
Yeah.
I should have just done that fucking yin class. Like, oh my god.
All I needed was a walk on the beach 3 times a week, and now I need to take 4 years off of my life.
Yeah, seriously. So true. But I feel like that's important also to recognize is that we do forget. And we teach this stuff and we forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in the forgetting that we remember.
That's right.
And we remember deeper and we grow deeper and we evolve. So it's not about you being perfect all the time and your cup overflowing constantly. Like
Right.
power to you if you figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
But we will forget we're human and just come back to what you already know.
Yep.
Constant remembering.
Well, I just want to say, I'm excited for your next chapter.
Yes.
Like this is, and I'm also like, I was just introduced to your brand and your work through M, and like, I'm actually really excited about it because I've done all the tests and had all the holes penetrated and done all the things. And I had parasites and all the things. So I'm excited
We
to
need
chat
to talk,
girl.
sister.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you're just a walking, glowing example of
Yes.
what you're...
Yeah, totally.
I know, I've been eyeing her skin. I'm like,
I know you're
I'm like,
like, what?
what do
Like,
I
oh
need?
my God.
Yeah, I'm like, what do I need to drink to have that?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to me,
Yes.
sister.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up.
We'll make it happen.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us for this beautiful conversation.
Yes.
We are excited to see the journey continue to unfold.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks,
Yes.
beautiful.
Lady.
Yay! Awesome.
Great
Yeah,
job.
girl.
Yeah.
Amazing. Your story